Okay, folks, welcome back to a very sultry Sydney Harbour on the 13th of March. It's probably still a little bit cool up in the Northern Hemisphere. We had a nice compliment from one of our fans up in Scotland, of all places, who said he enjoys watching our coverage of particularly the JJ Gilpin. He got engrossed in that, but I suppose up in Scotland you don't have a lawn to mow, you're probably under snow, and you've got to make the most of it. And he's a sailor, so good on you. I've forgotten your name. Thanks for that. It was on Scuttlebutt during the week, so that was nice. So yeah, today we've got a three-buoy handicap. Just milling around the start here, you can see it's very benign, low in wind strength breeze. We thought we'd have more than this, but today, three-buoy handicap, northeast course. We'll give you the mark roundings as we pursue it, but for Pick the Podium people, I gave the blog a bit of a tickle up this morning, put the handicaps up. And there's been some crew jumps, and the most important one was Michael Coxon. He's not starting the Thurlow today, he's actually steering the Peroni, and it looked like Michael Coxon, if he got away with it, would have got the 7-minute handicap that boat currently is on. But anyway, then all the heads got together in the park and they decided to tax him, and I think, and this is only a rumour, that he's on 2, so it's not to say that he still can't podium, but he certainly had a red-hot favouritism about him. Andrew Buckland, funny conditions out here, brother. What do you make of this? The forecast is a little bit low for this race, and could be balls in the air Sunday, I'm thinking.
Balls in the air Sunday, or Concordia liner to our left, Kilo.
Oh, well, that won't come into play.
Sister ship of the Concordia that sank in the Med.
Yeah, well, we'll just...
No, that's all right. No, look, it's a bit of a funny late summer's day. Big line of high pressure that extends from Auckland to west of Perth. So, but not hot enough to make any sea breeze today. Only sort of 25 degrees here in Sydney, probably air temperature. And ocean temperature not far off 25, so not much happening in the thermal department. Quite an okay, stable-ish north-northeast wind, but actually lighter now than it was 2 hours ago. Around 10 knots, we would say.
You think you're going to get 10? I don't think it's anywhere near 10.
Well, 10, certainly 10 at Bradley's Head. Pretty big ebb tide, adding maybe a knot and a bit to the effect.
Okay.
So that will play a pretty big part, I suggest, in the first beat.
Your podium, Bucko. Well, I've got you all focused on the microphone. What is your podium today, brother? Here we go. Now, come on. Don't take too long.
No. Well, at short notice...
you should have already had them in your head.
At short notice. Let's just say at short notice. I'd say...
who's going to win it?
The Longy.
The Longy wins?
I would say Peroni, and I would say maybe Triple M.
Ooh, okay, I'm going to go with Asko to win. We're in sequence, by the way. You can hear the horns blowing, so we'll get back to that in a second. I'm going Asko, Stephen Quigley's Alcatel One Touch, and who else? Compass Global Markets. I've got to change the skipper on that. Mr. Centre is steering that today. So that's my go. Larry Jamison's with us today. Warwick Rooklyn is slumming it over in St Bart's on the Murray Char 2. So can you introduce Larry to the folks, Bugger?
Yeah.
Bit of short background, quickly.
Quick short background for Sir Larry, as we call him.
He's vertical, that's amazing.
Long time yachting media guy, and also accomplished yachtsman. A couple of Hobart race wins under his belt, and perhaps the most celebrated one with Aera. And just tell us about the weather in that one, Larry.
You were right beside us, Bucko, on a 60-footer while we were on a 50-footer, so I'm guessing that, you know, it was a little bit rough. Managed to hold the boat together, and just a short little tack of 100 miles laid it out, one and in.
All good. famous victory, I think, in sleet and, you know, really cold conditions and about 40 knots of wind. They laid Tasman on a rotating breeze from, I think, 150 miles out, Larry. And we had to go home because the mainsail tore in half, but don't worry, well done. So, Larry, I know that you haven't spent much time in the 18-footer class, and today we're going to get up close and personal. And but you know that some of the guys that you've sailed with, like David Witt on the Ragamuffin, etc., come from this background.
Yep. Just to correct you, Bucko, I've spent 0 time in the 18-foot skiff class. No, absolutely bugger all about it, except for the bullshit that I've heard off my colleagues on the 100-foot Ragamuffin for the last year or two. So I'm looking forward to differentiating reality from fantasy.
Well done, Larry.
Not as many Wahinis hang around the 18s, mate. The bigger crews on the yachts. That'd be my throwaway. And we've got Graham Turner, the mighty GT, just jumped on board. He was sitting on his little yatchet in Double Bay, and he's an old skiffy, 18-foot skiff style.
GT, how many years since you saw one?
Bucko, probably about 18, I reckon.
Good work. All right,
we got what? We must be getting close to a minute. They're all starting to shape up. Get a lane.
I think we're at 120, Bob.
120. Oh, very good. So this breeze is looking pretty much in the east. So boat to middle would be the spot with a lane, but a lane is tough to buy on the boat these days. One to go.
Yep.
Brett Van Munster standing in for Mr. Napton, Willie Napton today. Won't lose too much there. The super sub, Mr. Van Munster. He's on scratch.
On the JJ Gilden win of the Smeg, and they're lining up here near the windward end. They've got 11-7 lining up near the leeward end, which is it's a good long line, so there shouldn't be too much congestion. We've got just 30 seconds, a little over 30 seconds.
And Mick Alane's steering Rag and Famish today, no Jack McCartney.
Probably, Kilo, actually the breeze tending to be a little more left as it fades here, I think, in fact.
I like where Alcatel is. Got a nice bit of room under his bow. That's one of my picks today.
He might have done well there, nice and light. Here we go. 5. Clean start.
You beauty. Alcatel, nice job. Bow forward. Okay, we're underway in the Alice Burton Memorial 3-buoy, and there's another change of skipper on Compass Global Markets. Keegan York out of the boat today. He's probably off and blowing his credit card apart overseas for more holidaying. Makes too much money, that bloke bugger. And he's got,
exchange.
Is it Michael Centre on the helm? On the
Stender, yeah.
Stender, and he's got Mr. Mackey, Peter Mackey on the sheet, and that'll settle them down a bit. That's Big Pete, right there. And they're nice and high, and the most weather boat off this start line.
But for those people watching, the tide changed maybe nearly 2 hours ago. So we would expect to see significant effect here as the fleet stands into the flow, which might be a bit over a knot at Bradley's Head, which is where their bows are at.
I've got Alcatel leading, Bucko. What can you see? Asko couldn't get him, could he? If he tacks?
Asko will cross him.
You think so?
What do you think, Larry?
I don't think he'll cross him.
I agree. See, there you go, Bucko.
It's not a democracy.
No. Triple M is going quite well with those low boats underneath Asko as well, but they're going to need to judge their tack out of and get back onto port sooner than later. It'll be just, as you know, when you've been watching this lay into Bradley's, it's got a big bunker as further you go in, and it traps a lot. So 7 is...
7's got the small rigging, Kilo, so
you're kidding me.
They will not feature.
Oh, okay. I didn't realise that, thanks. So Triple M's powered up well, so is Asko down this end.
Yeah.
Michael Coxon's got the Peroni in pretty good shape with a nice lane behind us.
Yeah. So I mean, here there's a bit of a compound effect. A little more wind here, and so the first boat's into the pressure gain, and the most current is pretty much where the camera cat is now. But these guys are in great line of pressure, and surprisingly have a surprising amount of gain on the guys who've started at the windward end. Yeah, and you know, the Triple M boat and Asko just have to handle the last 50 yards carefully.
Triple M and Asko are fine. They're going to lay the white light here, so they don't get amongst all that cabatic stuff down there.
Well, there's a bit of a dead zone in behind here, as that camera would show.
And we've got a fast ferry just joining the party,
yeah, there's a fast ferry.
as it can. So Triple M's going nice. Let's just see how they take the boat and if they've got to take a stern or three.
I think Asko's leading, Bob, actually.
So they've lifted up here, so that means that the boats off the boat end should be doing quite nicely as well.
Yeah, no, breeze is back to the east a little now, but good bit of heading pressure here where we are, where the camera cat is. Like shooting out the back at the Triple M. The Triple M won't cross Asko. But not far off it.
We'll have a go where Compass Global Markets is, Bucko. How do you like his chances right across from, that's just coming off the boat. Yep. So he's got that big easterly hook there. Well,
yeah, but he's got to get to the header on this side here, Bob, you see. There's no avoiding the header. And that's the difficulty. More wind, and you know, the rotation's about 20 degrees by the look of it. So Triple M's crossed the Alcatel and the Compass easily.
Yeah.
And so Asko leads. Hard boats to tack, Larry. Asko doesn't lead.
Not with Peroni, but with Alcatel.
Oh, this will be close. Oh, he fancies himself.
Oh, he does lead. But he won't cross the M.
He won't cross Triple M though.
So the M's gone out and there you go.
Lead change, go the mighty M's.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Asko now probably can sail for 150 yards and be in the stronger current. So he's crossed the Compass, who started at the boat, by 60 metres. So Larry, it's a deceptive racecourse sometimes.
Yeah, really interesting. Obviously, just to tack there.
Attack costs quite a bit. If you tack in pressure, it doesn't cost too much, but so Blake's got the camera on the middle of the fleet here. Yandu ducking the Compass, Ilvi, Mojo, Peroni just going to cross the Compass Global Markets here. Just. But Blake, if you just want to come around to the right, the other right.
Two leaders, Triple M and Alcatel.
Well, I think they're not leading anymore, Bob, because there's no cause to be going out of the current, is there?
Yeah, well, true.
So I think Asko might come out of the other side pretty good, but we'll see.
Well, that light crew weight of Alcatel, Stephen Quigley's guys got young Tom and he's a really strong, fit, agile sheet hand, Mr. Ellis. They've got plenty of pace, and you can see how closely are they locked in, and I think they're sort of coming up underneath Triple M. We'll go and have a look at them, and then we'll give you a good bead on the rest of the players. Out of the tide though, as you say, Bucko, they've got no tidal.
Yeah.
They've probably got an eddy that's actually hurting them, you would think, somehow or other. It could happen. But they're quite happy they've got pressure, is what they're staying in.
Yeah, no, that's all fair, but we'll see. They've got good pressure, haven't they?
Stephen closing gauge.
Yeah. So, Bob, I think looking out to the east, and Blake's on these two boats close here, but out to the east, it looks to me as if Peroni, the easternmost boat now, is probably, if not in the lead, very close to. You know, from being fifth or sixth when they tacked at Bradley. So, probably a significant change here. And this finishing line of the Sydney Amateurs here, always in the wrong place.
Well, Michael Coxon's taken the Peroni across with Asko, so they are way high and full tide under their boats over there. So we'll get across to them. I think these guys have just played themselves into the card dealer's hands here.
Yeah.
I think both Noakes boats didn't turn up today, so unfortunately I didn't realise that Sean Langman wasn't starting, and I didn't realise Ash Rooklin wasn't starting, so this is the trouble with the end of the season. So hopefully not too many of you wasted a pick on those two. I certainly did on Sean Langman.
Yeah, but traditionally this time of year, crews swap around a bit. People try some different things. You know, the race, is not of the same consequence as a championship race. So,
well, that's right.
They feel free to experiment variously, and
it'd be good if they could let me know so I can pass it on.
It would.
Yeah, that's all I'm asking.
So we're here with the clear race leader. We would expect Asko. Second probably is in fact Yandu, and if these guys are believing in this, Bob, and Peroni might be third or perhaps fourth. Alcatel coming off the other shore now. If these guys are believing in this, they should indeed be standing back into the Nielsen Park side here.
I tell you what, Alcatel and Triple M got their bows up. Normally you get smashed over there when they come out, so it's not completely in the middle here anyway. Well, yeah, but it might be better on the shore, as you're saying. Yeah.
But Bob, as we know, you have to be on one side or the other, and these guys are fiddling with it a bit.
Bow down now, I'd be going now. Yeah. Get across, be first in there.
These guys are into the header. So Bob, funny bit of wind here. This feels like sea breeze to me here now. A little weak bit of thermal, colder air. So that air on the other shore was pretty warm compared to this. So Alcatel still leads, in fact, after all that. Just.
Yeah, well, go figure. But the tide didn't have a big part of that, did it?
Asko needed to be back over to the yellow blinker.
No, that's for sure.
So if we're correct in that summation, Peroni might be crawling up into the podium here as the easternmost boat presently. But the Triple M's and the Alcatel both sail pretty well to get to here.
And James Ward's got the Mojo, the mighty Mojo, trucking along just fine. They're in this little lead group.
Wow, the Triple M tacked early.
I don't know why he did that, but we got him. Yeah, no, I think that's right, Larry. He's got a nice little dark patch on his bow.
But Larry, we're looking at the Alcatel here, and he's in a great bit of air, yeah?
Yeah, he hasn't hesitated to go straight up the guts either, which is, as you guys said, is unusual, but come out of it well.
Well, you know, this is east northeast here, compass wind direction about 055 or something like that. And Alcatel possibly is quite close to his ley line from there. But, you know, Larry, the old rule used to be go to the yellow blinker.
Well, now they've got to go back, so it's...
Yeah, no, he's fallen out. He has to come back to the east. Anyway, it's a different day. It's...
Balls in the air Sunday, bucko.
Yeah, balls in the air Sunday. That's fair comment. See the little ones.
So we're starting to approach these 3 turn marks, this 3-boy handicap system. If you haven't watched this before, a scratch start and the handicaps unwind as they come up to their turn marks. And Bucko, you might like to get the sheet out with the handicaps and the turn boys, because I think Alcatel is on 4 minutes and will shape up to a blue mark, and as will Triple M. They'll be both going around. They should race pretty closely today because they're both on the same handicap. I think Asko is a 4-minute boat as well, so there's a lot of 4-minute action here, and the scratch boats are struggling. I can see Tommy Anderson's appliances online, no David Witt, still OS in Asia, and gotta love it's got the wrong rigging, so he's going to go nowhere. And the Smegglers with Brett Van Munster, scratch boat. So they go all the way to the long mark. They've got the furthest to travel, 3 times around that. So our leaders on the water, these 4-minute boats, and they will turn their blue marks. Is that right? Accurate, Bucko?
Correct.
Correct weight? Okay. And I think I picked Asko and Alcatel in my picks, and you picked Triple M.
Correct. And we're into a bit of easterly puff where we are, so suggest that the right-hand boat might have gained here. Peroni leading the charge out of the right edge here. Alcatel easily in front of Triple M now.
Well, those boats have all overlaid their marks by the look of this.
Well, they'll be happy to reach in, the guys coming from the eastern edge, Bob, you know.
Put the bow down now because you've got the run-out tide. You don't want to have to put a spinnaker on to get down to it. Ooh, watch these waves, Blake. The only way to stay dry on this thing is to gun it.
So Bob, just looking back down the track there, it looks like the easterly slant is quite narrow today. There's only a couple of 100 yards width in it. So the guys that are hard east are laying the mark, but falling out of it's pretty easy to do. So Yandu and Peroni are leading that charge. We'll see how that turns out. But Alcatel and Triple M both stepping back to the east.
So, Bucko, just come round and have a look at Asko, who persevered right across the other side, and he's heading for a blue mark, which is pretty much on his bow with this run-out tide. So how's he shaping up to greet the easterly slanters?
Well, just look straight behind you, Bob.
Ah, right.
Have a look and go, I think the easterly slanters have won the war.
Okay, well, it'll all be sorted in about 2 minutes.
Who's going to a red mark? That would be an interesting question.
They're nowhere in sight at the moment. The red markers are Pedro Vozoni and the higher.
Ilvi.
Bit of foiling action.
Yep.
That was a good idea. Is that Josh McKnight by any chance? Got a bit of his look about him.
Not quite enough wind to continuously foil there. So, yeah. Right. So Blake's on the Triple M and the Alcatel, who are having a good fight. The Asko might have pulled it off, Bob.
Well, that's what I was alluding to.
Well, these guys have gotten out of the easterly slant, you see. The northerly's predominating in the middle of the river here. Yeah. The easterly slant's narrow, so you have to be over the ley line to stay in it.
Alcatel and Triple M have rights, and Asko's got his foot down.
Asko's going to cross them.
Ooh, Alcatel's a puzzle. No.
So
very, very tight. All these boats go around this blue can, being on a 4-minute handicap. So basically, this is the podium that could really disappear here once we get the chutes on. Makes it difficult. Peroni's joining this party, I think.
Yep.
If he'd been on his Peroni's handicap, he would have gone around the red mark, but he still would have probably struggled to lead.
Well, the Cooper's Rag and Famish has come from hard right edge and nearly got up here, Bob, so it's interesting. I know we're a fair way back early.
Well, they're on blue this first time.
Oh. There may have been an infringement, Larry.
I'd suggest there was.
The scratch markers, we won't see them today, unfortunately. High has gone round his red can,
yep.
And where does that put him? No, he's still behind the leaders.
He'll still be.
All right, well, we'll just mosey down with this pack because it's where the action is as far as the podium's concerned. Johnny Winning.
Plenty of room in there, Larry.
No problem.
Tommy Anderson on the helm for DeWitt today. He's got 2 other Toms in front of him, so there's the 3 Toms. Tom, Tom and Tom on that boat.
Who's the 3rd Tom today, Bob?
Tommy Woodcock.
Oh, okay.
The Longy no good. Gotta love it, 7. No chance. So in fact the Ilvy is leading this race, boys, from going around the red mark, so we missed him. We'll get up behind them. That's Ollie Hardis and his guys. What's the other crew? You've got the crew list? You need a bigger sheet of paper, bugger. Get the A4 computer going.
Larry, you know, the normal rule of thumb, and we're just talking about that the jib does contribute something downwind here, but normal rule of thumb in a keelboat is that the staysail should be 1/3 of the pole length, measured from the pole back to the mast, and then the staysail should tack down 1/3 back. Well, the pole here is about, the jib's effectively tacked down at 1/2, so it does contribute, and it's got quite a good space to work in.
So Asko getting pushed right into the bricks here off Nelson Park, Still Point.
Yeah.
And he's got Ilvy, because of that red buoy mark rounding, is still going to have to jibe off, I would suggest, but he's a clear leader at the minute until these boys set up. Jibe back to the island where I think there'll be a bit of pressure come on you.
So Bob, the angle that they've got here tells you how much east there is. It's not a heap, but neither is it inconsequential. And their jibe out here on starboard, will only be a few 100 metres. Just watch the compass here, Bob.
Got them. I was more worried about the yell from Peroni.
So the Ilvy's escaped quite nicely, but under pressure again now, I would suggest, yes?
Yeah, well, these guys will probably set up deeper on him, and he's going to have to keep an eye on them. Although he's getting a bit headed now, so he's probably on a reasonable lay there.
Yeah, Rose Bay looks like it might be a bit awkward. Larry, what do you think?
A little bit light in Rose Bay, but it seems to be in a nice little bluff on the way now.
Well, the Alcatel's jibed in what you'd think is a pretty good spot, although...
Oh, Ilvy's in all sorts of problems with that cruiser wash.
Yeah. Ooh, maybe So you'd favour Asko's slightly deeper line here. And they've got their full lineup, haven't they, Kilo, today? Marcus Ashley Jones and the
He's got Harry Bethwaite.
Oh, Harry Bethwaite in the bow. Okay.
Yeah, with his hat on backwards now. Just get a bit more speed out of it.
That's Harry.
And Jimmy Doran having a look from the other side of the boat.
Ooh, VMG run, Larry, in light air. Not that easy in these boats.
Never blow a used car from a kid who's got a hat on backwards.
The Alcatel taking some risk up here, Bob, up to our left.
Well, he's almost looking at getting the Sunday papers out, unless he jibes out of there, I would think.
The Ilvy, correct. Blake's on the Alcatel. Great bit of pressure at the corner, and then it just fades away.
He's going to need to get out too. He can't think he's going to continue. If he's looking at Ilvy, he will want to be jibing any time soon.
I think the Asko might be about to take the lead here, mate, just on the face of a nice path, yeah?
Yeah, and he's prepared to soak it. Soak it, don't choke it.
Alcatel's going to have a fight with the cruising boat.
So Marcus and Doro, James Doran, and Harry with his hat on backwards are pretty good at this sort of light, testy sort of conditions. They've got a bit of thinking to do now. They're just trying to connect the black dots.
Well, yeah, I mean, Larry, as you observe here, what happens is that the wind blows over the low land where the golf course is and you get rescued somehow.
Right. So they've struggled their way through that little light patch, and going into Rose Bay have picked up that little extra breeze there, what you were talking about, and they look to be away again a bit now.
That's correct. Asko, good one, and Blake's shooting the guys further back, Triple M, and they're all doing themselves a great amount of damage by being too close up under Nielsen Park.
Yeah, a little bit of a dogfight back at the point there.
Yeah, well...
Interesting to watch the rag right back there banging it up. See how he picks up.
Yeah, I mean, Larry, we see the Asko here now, you know, both boats here in reasonable pressure, but we know from hindsight now that the leeward path would have been better, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, you look at Asko now, he's struggling, but ahead live got out of jail. You know, he can still do it, this bloke, but he's fully committed, isn't he?
Well, he's there, but he's still very high to the mark, so he's still going to burn up some geography by the time he sets up his jibe angle back, and I think he's a bit stranded up there.
Have a look at Asko, Bob. Blake shooting it.
Coming down.
And he just picked up a good one that got him, you know, another 100 yards, you know, or another 50 yards to leeward there. Doesn't take much.
No, a little puff is what you're looking for to get down. Ilvy's got a good one to get out of there, so this is looking good for them.
How's that Rag and Famish looking, Larry?
High and fast, but still back there.
Wow.
Okay, Blake's just come back to Asko, now clears the Shark Island turn mark in hot pursuit. And Stephen Quigley's wound up the Alcatel finally, and he's coming in the lowest of all with pace. So that's our podium as we speak. Triple M dropped off a bit.
Bob, if you have a look out the back, you'll see the higher appliances, I think, and the Peroni, both on the low road, both looking all right. But now a VMG run down to Clark Island. But quite good pressure here at the jibe, mate.
Wasn't it you that were telling me, Bucko, that none of these yachting designers know how to sail? Quigg seems to be doing a half.
No, Larry, give him a break. He's won a Giltman, and he's as fit as a mountain trout. He lives in the Shire, brother.
That's what I'm talking him up for.
He's the exception that proves the rule, because he actually goes sailing. What I don't get inspired by is yacht designers that don't actually go yachting. Are you with me?
Go design motorboats then, I guess, is the answer.
Correct.
Rag eventually appears, and he's brought himself up.
Yeah, so quite a big order change there. You know,
It wasn't a bad call to bang her out there then, eh?
That's right. Larry had it right.
I got to contribute something, Bucko.
So that's another podium fight. We've got our front three, and this is the immediate second podium right in front of you. Mojo's next around. And Cocker in the Peroni, who we thought was going to be a raging red-hot favourite, has been the Commodore and the handicapper got together and smacked him with 2 minutes. So but it wouldn't have helped him. How are we going with this turn mark here, boys? Can't get any closer than that.
We shouldn't hide it from the fleet book.
True.
Too worried about sort of taking the inside track and getting side of each other, are they?
Wow. Larry, I mean, on this next leg, Shark Island does make a decent wind shadow. So you can't, you know, it's a VMG run, pretty much. They know they've got to do a couple of jibes.
Andrew Chapman's got the kitchen maker, high to the island. He's had a look and he sees them all sort of bit headed, so he's hoping to do all right there. And then there's a good little group underneath him, Yandu. Nick Press has come out of his 12-foot skiff campaign. He's been out of 18s for a couple of years. He used to sail the Smeg, as you remember, with a really hot crew, Dan Phillips and Gill. And he's on the sheet today for Woody, who's sitting in reading the Sunday papers. Good to see Nick back in the park. And here's the rest of them. You can see the line up here, all trying to get some height. They think this is starting to freshen a bit from in front of them. So they're all
Bob, I think they're all defending a bit against the guy behind to a certain degree.
There's that about it.
The Cooper's there's, you know, only 2 strings, so the Mojo, you know, they're all sort of VMG run here, 2 strings. The Mojo free to go at it by the look of it. But you see there is a fair bit of beast here. The angle that Triple M had there for a second, and now they've got a bit of northerly.
True.
So almost like there's 2 distinctly separate winds. You know, it's sort of plus or minus 15 degrees, which is quite a lot for this Sydney Harbour funnel. So the top 3 at the bottom will be Ilvi, Asko and Alcatel, fairly closely followed by Triple M, Peroni and Cooper 62. And the margin's not huge. Ilvi might go on to win it, Bob.
Oh, don't peak too early. There's a lot of golf left. This is only a completion of 1 lap. So 2 today. Long way to go. He's where he wants to be, in front. It's always nice. And he's got another red. What has he got for the next turn mark? I think he might be on.
Yeah, he's got 2 blues now.
2 blues, so he's back to the pack. And I think the race is going to be fought between Alcatel and Asko for mine. 2 slippery operators, 2 light crews. Stephen Quigley's trying to get his bow down under Asko's line right here.
Yeah, I think you'd have to favour probably the Asko from here, wouldn't you, in all reality? They are skilled.
I still like Alcatel. One thing about Steve Quigley, he'll be making most of the calls, whereas on Asko, there's at least 2 calling everything that's going on. So it depends on where the the community can speak as one, and on Alcatel it is one, Stephen Quigley. So here's the tax coming fast and furiously now on Ilvey, who's parked it up getting the chute off. So it's critical how you approach this mark. You want to come in with some pace and lay it and get the chute off at the last second.
Yeah, well set up here for a jibe drop, Larry. Don't try this on your 100-footer.
Mexican, no problems.
Mexican, no problem. Right, okay. Ugly.
So it's tightened up with the podium. Ilve, Asko, Alcatel One Touch. Ooh. No, that's okay. Who's stuffing it in? We've got a halyard jag, I think.
Yeah.
So next in here will be the Triple M, the mighty Dr. Dan's coming in on a nice low approach.
Oh, the Peroni might beat him actually.
Nah, Dr. Dan. He's on starboard. If he gets into that 3 boat length area, he's depends on how the chute comes out. Pretty straightforward.
Peroni's in a good header. Dr. Dan's good, I think. Yeah, maybe. There we go.
The Rag trying to jam it in there as well in the second podium. Nick Lane steering for Jack McCartney today.
Well, there's not too much in it, is there? There's about 1 minute 20 between first and sixth.
Well, just noticed that slow spinnaker drop has cost Alcatel plenty on the Asko team.
Yeah, he's not in a tidy place there, is he? He's in dirty air.
Bit of breeze, these boats are rather athletic to sail.
You got that right. Best fun is to watch Big David Witt get out there and send it. Well, he goes good, don't worry. Yeah, well, he knows how to still get around on his haunches and on his feet. He's still got some flexibility, which is very important on these things. And when he's down the back, fully arced, the boat has got a lot of stability about it.
Larry, David, I don't know if you're aware, but he sailed in the bow for Cooper 62 in the JJ's a couple of years ago, and they came within a micro crack of winning the thing. And I don't know how old David is.
40
In the bow?
43 or 4.
40.
44 in the bow. I'm not sure I'd be doing it, not that I'm 44.
I wouldn't want to do the bow on 50 foot at that age. So, yeah. David's well known for having a crack. Give him half a shot and he'll have a go at anything.
Okay, Trips, this wind continues to be soft and perhaps maximum of about 10, but probably average it now around 8. So all these guys into power-up rigs and light air technique, weight forward. Hard work for the forward hand in this wind strength. Has to balance the boat as well as operate the rig controls.
Well, the Rag boys have got the grunted up look on their mainsail.
Yep, and seeking a discussion with the cruising boat on their bow, I believe, Bob.
Yeah.
The old square riggers make a hole in the wind, Larry, yeah?
Quite a big hole there. But so on these boats in the light air, as you say, the forward hand is doing all the work. Initially, he's first in, first out. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, the other two guys, you know, critically, the main sheet guy's got to call the wind, and it's better if his head's still. So if you watch him in a lull, the forward hand goes in first, and then the way that these guys do it now, the skipper steps in next almost. So the sheet hand's kind of got the privilege of standing still, if you like.
Last man standing main sheet hand.
Correct.
For the viewers like me who haven't actually participated in this sport on an ongoing basis, nice to work out the athleticism required to do this.
But you'll see going downwind, Larry, the Shedan has the short straw. He has to do all the running and you know, be the balancing item, if you like, in the riding moment account.
How did my mate Sean Langman go in this sport? I mean, done a lot of miles with Sean on the Orma 60, where you're running basically a 60-foot sprint from one wing to the other. You know, during our Sydney Hobart world record-breaking run, and across New Zealand, now talking up, trying to break the round Australia record. How's Sean's fitness training going, do you think?
Well, he's making a reasonable fist of this, but it may be that to succeed in this class, it's sort of a bit of a full-time job, I think, and I know Sean's got a few too many things on.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean, he's got. I think he's got about 4 full-time jobs actually.
Approximately.
He doesn't have a lawnmower though, Larry. That's one thing that he's eliminated from the lineup.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I think at last count he had 36 boats. That'll keep him occupied.
You need a boatyard to help you, I would have thought.
Yeah, talk to Sid Fisher about that.
Just watch, Bob.
What have we got?
Purpose.
Oh, sorry. I'm glad you pointed that out. I missed him completely.
Got some nice close-up of the Coopers.
Hey girls, love your work.
Imagine.
Obviously, these athletic 18-foot skiff guys attract the right sort of crowd.
Correct.
No, they like the camera more than I think the Wahoonies.
Bit of Did you get that, bloke?
Yes, sir.
Play to the cameraman.
Not too difficult.
Well, Larry, what would you do now? You're the tactician now.
Go right. Go into Nielsen Park Point, flop over, go for gold.
There you go. Larry's in the Eastern Suburbs Club.
Yeah.
But what we see here in the middle of the river here, plenty of current, wind speed effective on the boats about 10 true, and pretty comfortable. A little bit of maestral inversion on the Triple M.
A slightly different setup on the Triple M, isn't it? Look, he's consistently lower and faster than the other guy. It's all a little bit higher and slower, but they're coming out together.
Yeah, Larry, historically, in this sort of wind speed, it's paid, you know, obviously to get your rig really powered up, but actually not sail too fast, because you can easily end up with tacking, you know, because the boat will just accelerate, it'll go as fast, a bit like a 100-footer. Yeah. It'll just keep speeding up, and the apparent wind doesn't move, you know.
Create its own.
Yeah, well, and you know, so you can end up with a 100-degree tacking angle pretty easily.
And look at Triple M angles now. We already talked about the fact that they were low and fast, but you know, they're on a lift over there, aren't they? Closing gauge all the time.
Well, it may be that he's just tacked in the best path, and you know, these boats, again, I don't think too much would actually do about a 60-footer these days, but highly sensitive to wind speed. 2 knots more wind does a great deal for you.
Well, Ilvy's still putting along and making a good fist of this, and looks like he's got some pace, or he's finding some air. So don't rip up your tickets if you got them on Ilvy today. I thought he may have struggled up this beat, but he's holding his own. He's got a lot of gauge off the Asko, and I like this side. I think I'd rather be coming up this side, although Asko did pretty good over there last time. Whether that remains, to get that, he's got his bow up, so I would think, I'm like you, Larry, I'll be banking my money over in the east. Well, they like looking at each other, I think.
Well, I mean, they're concerned to stay in the strongest current here.
Well, they got their bows
and the strongest wind probably is in the middle of the river here to some degree, Larry.
Well, they got their bows down. You can tell. This side of the harbour, and there's a ferry coming just for another bit of interest, motoring at high speed straight towards these three. And Stephen Quigley will get his full attention pretty soon.
These three guys are really just racing each other, aren't they?
Certain degree. What is tacking, Bob?
You've got a collection of 18-foot skiff on the front of this vessel?
We've got a few.
We've got a few leeward tiller extensions in the collection, mate.
It's all right if you get a couple of seconds to actually take the power off, pull neutral, and then clunk it into reverse. But if you have to crash tag it, it stalls, and that's when you're in most jeopardy. And this boat can eat carbon up pretty nicely. Yeah, he did, but whether it works again this time remains to be seen. He's got his bow down, so he'll come out with something, but then it all caves in as you come across the middle of the harbour. Normally, it's just gone now.
Well, they would have all learned something from the first beat, Bob, that if you go east, you have to be really far east. You can't play around halfway.
Yeah, no, that's always been the story, isn't it?
Yep, inside the yellow blinker and
push on up that side.
Yep, to the rocks at Nielsen Park, Larry. How about that?
Yeah. Us guys from the Shire are on the same wavelength.
That's it, mate. You can see Stephen's mainsail's nicely grunted up. The cunno well eased, lots of creases.
Yeah, not quite as deep as the Triple M sail, but they're pretty comfortable. And they're leading easily at this time.
Yeah, they just crossed the leader, so that's...
And in a great line that will take them to Nielsen Park, so I don't think you could improve on where they are, and they look like their rig tunes in sync with the conditions pretty nicely.
Well,
so
I'm not going to stick my neck out, but Alcatel, even though he's still going in, is the new leader. Because Asko, I just had a glimpse at him, and he's got his bow down horribly coming out.
That's a massive roll of the dice to go over there and let your
Yeah. Well, normally Marcus and those guys like getting up this eastern side. That's where they do most of their damage in these light big sail bruises. They love the east, but they've, I don't know, might be a new girlfriend living over there in Mossman, bugger.
I don't know anything about that. The Alcatel's tacked now in a good line of pressure off Nielsen Park. Probably thinking he's going to take one more in, but he's comfortably in the lead if things continue. But he's fallen out of the puff actually quite quickly there, Bob, hasn't he?
Yeah, he needs to come in again.
He has to come back in.
And that's where you can get rattled, because you start to go, and then it takes you a while to get your brains unscrambled and realise you've got to get back. That's what he wanted. He wanted that, but they don't always turn up on time.
No, he's on the outside edge of a nice puff, but our observation used to be, Larry, in this course, that it paid to overstand the windward mark. That's how much the wind bends right out of Watson's Bay. And it paid to sail into the mark cracked sheets. And also a reflection of the fact that in this wind speed, you know, if you go bow down, and I'm talking about just 2 inches of jib sheet out, the boat really goes fast. It goes, you know, from going 8 knots in 8 knots of wind upwind, it goes 12 knots in 8 knots of wind just bow down.
Yeah, well, I mean, even with Alcatel's little faux pas at the bottom mark, where they did a little bit of fishing, they got out of jail, lost a bit of time, but he's played the numbers game up this speed and looks to have done well.
Anyway, we're still looking for that guy in the far east. Who could that be? Nobody.
So I think Stephen Quigley goes around the blue again. You want to check that, Bucko? And I think Ilvey goes around a red possibly, which could ruffle them up a bit. Have a geek. Get the computer warmed up.
Yeah.
Alcatel red.
All these guys are on a blue this time, and the last bit of unwinding is in the last lap. So the three lead boats are around the same mark. So sorry, Ilvey, Asko. Sorry, hang on. Oof. Yeah, all the boats are around blue marks this time. Sorry, the first 4 boats, and we see that Triple M gone back to the east finally behind us. 4th place. Peroni in 5th, perhaps behind them. Asko still plugging away on the left edge. And the only thing to say there is that there's wind and there is tide, but there's not much angle.
So ask GT what he'd be doing with this course. He's still got any memory bank of what he'd be doing today out here?
GT, which side would you have gone up the beat?
Andrew, I think I would have gone to the right. I just think this breeze was dying, but now it just seems to be a little bit puffing in here. Who knows? It could come out of the left and Asko could look famous.
I don't think so.
Well, that's why you're the champ, Bucko, and I was just an also-ran.
That's a bit kind. A bit harsh on yourself.
Well, have a go at this. Stephen Quigley's prepared to go all the way across to Asko.
It's pretty astonishing. The current must be really roaring up that edge for this to work.
Yeah, but Stephen should have been over in the east. He's suckered himself into coming down.
Just a complete relief.
Yeah. And as I was just saying earlier, they got a bit scrambled when they tacked and their bow was down. They had no pressure. You know the east is kind to you in these days.
Yeah, well, I would have gone up and touched the rock at Nielsen Park as the first point, but yeah. The Asko's done okay, the Alcatel.
Yeah, well, he's just struggling for pressure here.
Well, he's in northerly and he's having to squeeze to get round the white light here. So that's never good for you.
See, he's sort of been sucked into playing this game just to go over and cover.
Yeah, it looked like it, didn't it?
Well, Bob, we'll find out because the Triple M has gone hard east and they're right up on the lay line.
Yeah, well,
because
Asko crosses.
The Triple M was a long way behind at the bottom. Wow.
Paid off, but it also sucked the opposition into
but he's lying the mark.
Yeah.
Go east, young man.
A bit of wobbly water. Stand by. So Asko's tacked and he's going to lead Alcatel into the blue. And a nice little lead.
Yep, and I'd say that Triple M will be back in contact with them after the convergence.
Paul Bucko will be interested to see how.
I mean contact, like fourth, but contact. Since he was a long way back at the bottom, Larry.
Yeah, we're agreeing he's done the right thing, but he's got to get ground.
Quite a bit of pressure here. Pretty nice wind where we are on the camera cut, just near the mark.
Harry Bethwaite's turned his hat around the other way for the windward bit.
That will speed it up, mate.
He looks like Thurston Howell III, or who was the bloke in Gilligan's Island? Mary Ann, that's the other person I remember. And Gilligan, of course. So Asko leads them. Second time up, this is a VMG run all the way back down to Clark. If you've been coming with us, you'd remember that.
Oh, hit the mark, son.
You're allowed to do that.
Allowed to do that?
18 footers. You can't take it with you. John Winning actually exceeded himself in the Gilton. I think there was a race where he capsized on the turn mark in Rose Bay. Did such a good job of it. The buoy had a little snap hook on it, and it attached itself to his first cross. To
the top of the jib. To the top of the jib.
No, to the spreader. And when he stood the boat up, he had the mark up the mast.
Hanging off the top.
So then he becomes the mark.
The carabiner, Larry, it was an astonishing thing. The carabiner on the mark, you know how they shorten the rope up, they've got a carabiner. The carabiner hooked onto his rigging perfectly. So there you go, the Triple M made up plenty by going
Yeah,
hard.
he has.
Hard right.
And he could have
Come on, Monty, get her going. Get her up there.
played his way into the mix now.
Well, he's learnt something as well, Bob, hasn't he? He now knows that works.
And Michael Coxon should be the next boat around, although he's got Mika Lane. I think Coco will get there on the Peroni. I think he's on a... Well, if they put him on 2, he might have to go to the white mark with the other lower mark boats. No, he's just breezing through. It's cool, breezing through. So, does Michael Coxon turn this mark, or does he go to the white? That'll be the
I think he's got to go to the white, Bob.
If he's on 2, he should do. No intention of going around this, so he's off to the white mark.
Yep.
Now that'll tax him out of it.
Yeah, the rag went up the middle and has suffered a fair bit by comparison to Triple M, that's for sure.
He's going to the white mark as well. So he's higher as the next rounder down on the red, our limit boat, on 10 minutes. So Pedro Valzoni has taken the higher into 5th position on the racetrack. He'll be a bull. I think he's blue.
Yeah, the Mojo coming to this mark as well. So that's pretty much the yacht race. We couldn't see anybody too much further back than this getting up, could you, Bob?
Negatory. I'm just looking at John Winnie's Yandu coming across. He's got to go all the way to the white.
Not a very happy day on his machine.
James Ward. He's got his normal crew in today. Mighty Mojo. Yeah, normally if they're both in the boat, there's a halyard and a tack line's got to be hauled out simultaneously. So the Smeg is interesting. They're struggling. The 3 Toms have got the better of them. They're all on scratch, so they're really at the back, out the back door.
Yeah, the scratch boats haven't had an easy day thus far, have they, Bob?
No. Well, the middle markers and are usually in pretty good shape on days like this, because if they're light new crews like the Alcatel crew, they minimise their errors. It seem to come to light on the fresher days when the pressure goes up in the kitchen. So they're more than happy with these sorts of days. They've got the skill sets for this, and they're lightweight. So we'll get up there and try and track the leaders down with these 3 boats to it.
In general, Larry, indeed. If we just observe this, breeze has rotated a little. If you see the depth that they've got down this time, they're a good couple of 100 metres off Nielsen Park, you know, at that sort of 3/4 of a mile distance from the windward mark, whereas previously they laid into the headland itself. So that would also tell you that Triple M's going was in part arising from that.
Yes. You bank that. Hang on. More of the same. It's an interesting split. Bucko looking across the Triple M. They were the last to jibe on the east side. And Asko's come back to the centre line. Triple M might be able to get into this podium.
Yeah, it's a game of find the win, and I'd say Triple M's done quite a good job there. I think Asko's done the right thing also, getting onto Port Jibe and going towards Point Piper, trying to get a little bit out of the tide without getting in the wind shadow of Shark Island. I don't think Alcatel's going the right way, but put it that way. And Ilvy's come with Asko, so there you are. Ooh. Gee, I think the breeze fading a little in general, yeah?
Yeah. You don't have to grit your teeth too much, that's for sure.
Alcatel now jibed, so the fleet kind of in consensus reasonably.
Higher, right up our...
There goes the computer over the side, bugger. Oh, you got that one. Good. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, it's getting pretty light in front of us. We'll go and sit on the back of Alcatel, who's out in the middle. And probably in a good position to go either way. You can continue on or go back, but it's looking pretty soft over at Bradley's, yeah?
Well, pretty hard to sail at starboard jibe directly into the current, Bob, and it does look to be a little more wind near Shark Island where these other guys here are. Ilvy, Triple M and higher appliances.
The other bit of weather tic-tac with you, Bucko, is there's quite a big cloud band building up, storm developing wise over in the CBD area there. That might have something to do why there's breezes. As you said, it wasn't a hot day. That build up over there has an effect of shutting this down a bit, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this looked funny. This looked like there was some colder air, you know, over near the Blue Mountain, shall we say, but just not sure. Just not enough heat to do anything.
Now we've got an interesting bit of action. Alcatel's got Asko coming back on starboard, and he's starting to sniff a bit of bow down.
Yeah, I mean, Alcatel well positioned, in good pressure, into the easterly header here. Going to be fairly close, but Asko's going to keep their lead. But Asko too expensive to do extra jibes here, so we'll see these two two boats separate, probably, I think.
They're rehydrating on the Alcatel. It's heating up in there.
So we probably expect here that Alcatel can make a small gain, and they may end up quite close to Asko at the bottom mark.
Interesting, you've got two going in different directions. What will happen? So you got your money on here, Bugger?
Well, I like the Alcatel pathway here.
He's got that little funnel coming down Point Piper.
And Asko has pressed out into the strongest current, which doesn't hurt you as much going downwind as it does upwind if you're wrong, but it still hurts you.
Correct. Well, Alcatel's really got to go set up his ley line and keep going, isn't he? He's not about to want to do two jibes. He'll try and hit it.
Yeah. Jibing's pretty expensive in this light air. You know, the boats take a while to get the flow reattached and get going again. So minimum jibes, and Alcatel's in a great bit of pressure here.
More coming. Yeah, it does. We saw Smeg do some nice work down this shoreline, particularly in the JJ, where he's about 8th and ended up coming through to 2nd, if I recall rightly. Bucko, do you remember that one?
I do indeed. They did some very fine burglary down the edge here, and so we'll see Alcatel here just go all the way to the ley line, and I would think they've made a decent gain on Asko. See Steve Quigley here just trying to size up the ley line. Almost 90-degree jibe angle in this wind speed, so he'd have that well in hand. And here they go.
So I think he's overstood it on purpose to come in hot in the lighter air.
Better to be hot than cold, Larry.
Yeah, that's what my wife says.
That's right. I'd say he's right on the money, mate.
Oh, we'll get you a line up. 3 strings and a yacht. So there's the line up with Asko. It's going to be close.
The Asko's still just in front.
He's got to do a jibe, a drop of some description.
Just depends. Alcatel might have wasted some of their depth there, and they're now going to have to... Oh no, here we go. Ooh, Asko's well early. Wow. Yep.
Yeah, they're too high, eh?
Yeah, buggered that one up.
Alcatel on the march.
Always going to lose sooner or later. He's actually played a nice percentage game here. Just kept it all together and played the percentage.
Asko goes. Alcatel should go to the lead here, but it's a lot of work to do.
But just watch, Kilo.
I'm listening to the crowd going nuts. Are they onto this?
The crowd stood as one.
Well, that's a similar rounding they had last time. Pretty much identical, wasn't it? And Alcatel dropped their spinnaker in the tide a little bit. Good racing.
Yeah. But we'd think here that Alcatel will have to tack. I don't think they can afford to live there yet, so they have to go away. And that will hurt them a little bit. Asko will be the first man out into the current and slightly more wind as a result. Yeah, but Larry, here's the thing: the strongest wind's still nearer to Bradley's current affected wind. Yep.
Yeah. Looks a bit lighter over there towards Bradley's, but I hear what you're saying about the current, Bucko. You're going backwards at the moment. Getting knocked over there.
Well, the same puff that he rode down the edge, but it looks like this might be a bit of permanent rotation. Look at the angle of the guys coming down the harbour. And look at Asko going upwind here. He's well bow up, so it might not have too much effect, in fact. And the Ilvy gets there in third. Higher and Triple M fourth and fifth, sorry. Higher fifth.
You've got a bit of a compression here with the cruiser.
I don't know what he's thinking.
Not a lot. So the podium remains Ilvy third, and Triple M has had Michael Coxon come into him. They were reasonably higher. Sorry, that's higher. Sorry. Okay. Well, that was that red mark rounding for higher, and they'll get that again on their handicap of 10.
Yeah, and Larry, I think you can see here that the Asko is now cleanly in front of Alcatel.
It's all to be decided, Bucko. All to be decided.
Come on, make a bet. Let's say about the bloke that sits on the fence all day, he ends up with splinters where, Larry? Is that you?
Could be. Hard game to be the tactician. That's why I just pull the Hetzel in and out, Bucko.
Okay, mate. All right, we'll leave you with it. So Bob, on the unwind this time, Alcatel and Asko have to go to the white mark.
So Ilve is around the blue still?
Correct.
So that could be a game changer.
And that's about how... I'd say Asko will still lead, but, you know, not by much.
Yeah, they need to get a wriggle on the Ilve blokes. But a lot of golf left yet, don't worry. And we don't know what the breeze is going to do. We don't know what the storm's going to do, and we don't know what we're going to do. So she's all the balls in the air Sunday, mate. That's the way it is.
Well, I mean, looks like the wind's just stabilised now, or, you know, just gone back to the right a little, so maybe 060 or something. Quite cool air here now.
Building in, but as that line of breeze, that line of cloud moves out there to the west, it'll allow us to fill in around the back of it, so what you see is what you get.
Yeah, it might just build a little bit. So Asko tacks at Bradley's head, and I would expect they might go all the way to Nielsen this time, but who knows. Bradley's Head, as usual, a fairly busy place on a Sunday afternoon. People going home from
recreational activity,
luncheons at Store Beach and other things.
Well, the weather forecast for this next week is still up there. It's still right up in the high 20s, and I think I saw a 30 there somewhere, or a 31. So summer continues in autumn down here. And what you folk are getting up in the Northern Hemisphere, a friend in Scotland probably still got some frost or some snow on the ground. Hope you're enjoying it, brother. If you're watching it live, give you a shout out. I'll write your name down next week so I can give you a title.
There's the white here. There's hope for us yet.
Larry, it's not too late for you to make a start, mate.
No, he's pretty young. He bleaches it grey.
So the Triple M almost coming into contention, Killer, over to our right there.
Yeah. Not gone away at all.
Hasn't gone away. So I'd say it's still up for grabs here. Alcatel, I think, going the wrong way here now. I'd say I'd be hard over to Clark Island looking at what we've got now.
Waves coming, Blake. Just hang on, buddy. Manly Ferry heading in. Pretty easy to see.
Yep. The Asko here has to make a call. He's decided he wants to go to the west side of the ferry. And equally, Alcatel's just going to be able to go. So now they are split by quite a way because they're both committed to their respective sides. But looking up to the east, Larry, I do see plenty of east in the east.
I've got to say, Bucko, we keep saying that, and I agree with you looking over there right now, but that Asko keeps going up the west side and keeps making money.
It's a funny sport yachting sometimes, isn't it?
So surely he's used up his head into jail cards by now. Stephen agrees with us. Got some catch up to do there.
Well, in front of us here, the Flying Dutchman on starboard, Larry, who looks nicely bow up to me. Funny old rig, I know. It looks very old-fashioned, doesn't it?
Yeah. Just hopes the Alcatel have got the strength of their convictions to bang the right. Go right over there. Don't half do it, son.
Yeah.
Oh, none of that.
Well, I suppose he's not going to cash out completely. He's going to split it and give himself the option of going back in. Got his bow up, so that'll give him a good indication.
Yeah, it looks to me like he leads again, the Alcatel, but the opera's far from over. But I was just looking at the cruising boat here, just to the starboard of us, so to the right-hand side of Alcatel, and it's a thumping. It's actually a learned a sailboat, but it's got enough pressure to be heeled over, so that tells you there's plenty of wind on the right-hand edge here.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening. He's not banking all his money with the big interest rate on offer.
Kello, we did have a discussion about this. What's a safe lead in an 18-footer race? Didn't we decide it was 3 minutes? I mean, that used to be the operating principle.
Yeah, you allow for a capsize.
Yeah, just in case. So, but we're saying again that it does appear to be more wind and more right on the right. But anyway.
Stephen quickly on Alcatel. His problem, not ours, thank goodness.
Oh, we own it fully on the camera cat, mate. Win every race. Haven't you figured that out yet?
Yeah, join the club. Win them all in the bar.
Asko tax, and we'll cross. I'd be going back now, Stephen, if I had a look at that. and get over there underneath him and hit the righty earliest. Never seen anybody win a race out in the middle here, Bucko.
No, not in this east northeast. Asko's going to cross him easily. Well, my friend in the Flying Dutchman is still high on starboard over there, Larry.
Yeah. But do any of these blokes ever come up to you in the beach and say, "I want to be mic'd up. I want your input, boys, during the race. You know, if only I'd listened to Killer and Bucko."
That's one reason why they wouldn't, because we're rubbish most of the time.
How many times have I told about Larry Jamieson? Just trim the headsail and shut up. No input required from you. Thank you very much.
Wasn't that one of the famous Kiwi boyos? A little bit of covering here from Asko. One of the Kiwi boyos that was in charge said to one of his trimmers who had the temerity to suggest something, "If I wanted suggestions from you, I'd put a suggestion box near the helm station."
Say that to me once in the develop. Okay.
I wouldn't have been that crude, would I?
Possibly.
I think it might have been directed at the other trimmer, Larry.
Was there another one?
Alleged trimmer.
Is this one of the fleet of mighty ghosts of Anthony Belzer?
I think that belongs to one Sandy Oatley. What do you think? And the Armo, indeed.
The Armo Italian.
Let's go.
Like calling the kettle black here, and in a situation where they've just decided to cover the Alcatel.
Yeah, I don't know what's at stake here. I thought it was just a handicap trophy that they were going to win the Alice Burton. There must be some other big money on this thing.
Double sheep station, Bob.
Sheep station with
Wahine, fully stocked.
Fully stocked wahinis and gold under those hills. Okay, he's Alcatel's tack, so what are we going to do? We're going to tack on top of it. Got to get the gold.
How would we go blowing one of these up to 100 foot, Bucko?
An 18-footer. I think they've tried that in Garda, didn't they? They had sort of 40-odd foot skiffs with 4,000 people on a trapeze. Remember them, Bucko?
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember what they were called, but
Ridiculous.
yeah.
I think they still have those sort of boats over there. I've seen photos of them online or whatever. They pull them out every now and then. I think they still trot them around. I don't know who does all the maintenance on the trapeze wires. We're in the roaring 40s here, folks. Tsunami, at least it's up our tail. Whoa.
What could possibly go wrong, Bob?
Scoop a bit up. It's right under your beanbag.
Hard conditions out here on Sydney Harbour, folks.
Yeah, Larry, you've come on a good day. You know, we usually do get wet, but as you'd observe, it's pretty flat water today. So now they're coming to the east finally, Bob.
Well, the marks are over this side, so they've got to get here sooner or later.
Asko looking away there, looking up a little bit.
Yeah. Larry, I think that Asko's a fraction faster upwind by the look of it.
First and how the third putting his head, arms, getting it all on the line.
Where did Triple M end up in all of that?
They have basically followed these guys, Bob, so they're in line
I got 'em,
half
yeah.
a mile back on the western shore. So
no inroads.
the yacht race is here, and I'd rather be Asko than Alcatel at this moment.
So
The Asko shouldn't be too far off having it.
well, he's got to go to the white mark, I think you'll find this time. Was that the piece of paper that blew over the back, or was...
The computer is being fired up.
Yeah, the Asko's on the white mark.
So is Alcatel.
Yeah, both white, and as we discussed, the Ilby blue.
Ilby's dropped his lunch on the ground and won't, I think, he's still my podium. He dropped right back from these two. He might have gone to the east.
No, he followed them, Bob.
Did he?
Yeah. So Asko's got a pretty good lead here now. Probably 1 minute or close to, with good pressure pretty much all the way to the ley line.
And Harry Bethwaite's got the Thurston Howell the third hat on again, the right way round for the windward part of this racetrack. Turns around backwards for the downhill, we've noticed. Yeah, he's got something going on. It's a very good look, very Greek, I thought.
The 18-footer class was famous for its innovation.
That was once upon a time, Larry, unfortunately.
They go pretty good in the bar after the après, mate. They're no different. Now, what's... okay. Asko's tacked. He's not laying the blue. He's not going around the blue. I'm sure he knows that, but I think he's just covering Alcatel.
Yeah, it seems
One over to our right, cruising along.
Nicola with Keith.
Work on Thurston Howell the third, tell me.
Now, hang on. Asko's gone around the blue. Now, this could be a major stuff up.
He's gone to the wrong mark.
Well, there goes his race.
Your code is correct here, Killer.
Well, have a look down the buoy rounding.
Yeah, no, I've got it. Blue, blue, white.
No, but that's what I've written.
For all the 4-minute boats, it's blue, blue, white.
Okay, so Asko's gone. He's out.
Went round the wrong mark. You reckon, Nicky?
So after all that brain power that was in the Asko boat today, they just couldn't quite remember which turn mark. So that's one thing you've got to have your mindset on, is which marks you have to turn representing your handicap on the day. And they just stuffed that up big time. So it'll be interesting to see if
You can bet.
Stephen Quigley goes, what one he goes around.
We'll make a bet here. Mr. Quigley will know the course and will sail the correct course.
I think you're right, he's already overstood the blue can, so new race leader. And won't they be surprised when they don't get the whistle on the committee boat? Hard to explain that. So that would move Ilve.
But Kilo, how will the committee know? The committee's presence is not here.
Well, that's a very good question on its own, isn't it?
Indeed.
So balls in the air Sunday was the right call for this particular race. Who knows?
Well, the Asko does have a bit of a history of unreliability in the last lap, as you're well aware.
It's a funny way to pull it off, that.
Indeed. Okay, so Alcatel
Now leads.
the legal leader at this time.
And he would know that Asko is erred rather dramatically. There'd be a conversation on the Asko. They would have noticed that, well, they may not have, but you would have thought, they would have thought, why did Alcatel go around the white mark?
Possibility of
It's a fair conversation.
Asko coming back, Kilo, estimate of that? 0? Plus or minus?
No, I think it's majorly 0.
Yep. So the Ilve here going to the shorter mark, the blue mark, so that steps them legally at least in the second.
Well, it's soft.
Oh, the breeze is soggy
soft
in the
as.
middle there now, isn't it?
Soft
Wow.
as.
It's creeping back up like this.
Yeah, squeezing down. So, Bob, maybe we should make a report to the committee of the non-compliance.
I'd rather not.
Not our job.
It's on the video. They've heard the comments and the correctness of our position on all of that.
So maybe the higher going around the red mark here, Bob.
Comes into the podium.
Yep.
Opportunity for
Greatness.
So he's into second. He wouldn't know.
And the Ilve's into third. Still a fair bit of yachting to do.
There is.
Tricky little leg in this stuff around under the leeward side of Nielsen Park and up to Shark Island.
Triple M is trickling on up to the white mark, as they should. Peroni going to the white. Probably stick with the leading three here, as they're reasonably close. And the back markers we can pick up if we choose to at the end. Go back and revisit them. There's something compelling to look at.
The higher sailing pretty hot here, Bob. I'm not sure of the wisdom of all that, but anyway, they will have to jibe. The higher down to leeward here, just sailing VMG technique. Sheet hand in the middle of the boat, 2 men on the end of the wing, which is the recognised method in this low wind speed VMG run.
So, okay, Alcatel's run out of pressure pretty much where they are, and should be thinking about coming out, would you not?
Jibes are expensive. There's still a little more wind on the Nielsen Park shore, I think, Bob. Where
he's away again.
Alcatel's away again now in a header. Yep, yep. But these guys will be liking their chances a bit here, Bob. They've got a lot of sail area, a bigger mainsail, I think, than the other two boats. Quite a light crew, so.
Go the Pedro.
Yeah. I mean, it's as we see, it is pretty localised, but maybe the breeze rotated back to left a little bit, Larry.
Maybe, but look at it just compressing along this Nielsen Park shore here. I read the Albion a moment ago, but he's charging down there now. Maybe better for these blokes to sail hot, get into it.
No, they're both in the same wind now, I think, pretty close.
Have you got the crew list, Bucko, or is that the one that went overboard?
That unfortunately went fishing,
right.
regretfully.
We don't usually get to follow Hire all that often because he's usually not in the front section of our racing, but he is today, and I was just going to hopefully give you the names of his crew. But one thing about Pedro is he's a great stalwart of this class. He's been sailing for a while, and he has a lot of guys go through his boat a lot of young guys, and I think Sam Ellis was one of them. I heard him say that he did a year on Hire and got a bit enthusiastic about the 18s as a result of that, and then stepped in with his current team, Stevie and Tom Quigley. And Sam's a coach. I think he does coaches the school kids at Scott's. That's one of the stories I got on him. So he's got a head for it, this Sam Ellis, and these guys hopefully are going to get the bit in their teeth as well from this experience. It's always good to be leading or up near the front of an 18 for skiff race. Gets your full attention.
Pretty amazing if you look at the different angle of the boats here, Bob. We're looking down at the Asko down on leeward shore. There's almost 60 degrees difference in their heading. Hire jobbing out. Probably execution not that good. Execution on the LV better.
It'll be an interesting conversation with Marcus and James Doran in the bar later on. Who's going to take the rap for that? Surely they'd all be interested in what the mark roundings were. I would have thought, wouldn't you? You'd be discussing it. You would be discussing it at some point. Are you sure? Are you sure about that blue mark? No, not really.
The navigator is usually the sheet hand for a variety of reasons.
So Doro, we'll pin Doro.
Yep, I think we'll pin Doro.
So this is going to be, if it all pans out the way it's looking, Stephen Quigley will take another race. He won the Queen of the Waves contest a few weeks back, straight after Gilton in light conditions, not unlike this. And when it's light, as I was saying earlier, there's enough experience on that boat to aim that thing extremely well, because there's no real major issues with experience or boat handling, and they just sail a nice cruisy fast race in that thing as you're watching.
Well, now he's got to make an awkward call whether to do two little jibes here. Looking ahead, there's less pressure, and he's really pushing hard for depth.
Well, how much time have they pulled out of Asko? Even?
Quite a bit.
He's parked.
So the LV coming from behind on a lower line, Bob, so we might see some action here. Just a little one here.
Well, the boys on the Asko will be sweating up, even though they don't realise what's going on, but they're watching this red spinnaker come at them. Unnecessary sweat.
The Asko's in pressure again now, Bob, but they might have got their course sheet out and gone, oh dear. Yep,
That's Sam Ellis.
The sheet hand's job.
Stephen's trying to do a bit of Malibu work here.
Ooh, have a look at that. Wow. Just run into the hole here and yeah. I bet they wish they were about 50 feet further, 50 yards further to leeward here, Bob.
Yeah.
That's right. But nobody behind them's far enough down to take advantage.
Sick, baby, sick.
Yeah, just a bit more wind coming down to him now, so he'll get to the mark there. Oof, have a look at that. Just, well, the boats are very fine, Larry, and they do sail them stacked well forward in light air. And let me tell you, we've seen a guy lead a race and then lose it by doing a perfect endo in about 8 knots of wind in a powerboat wake.
I can tell you the Wild Oats have done the same thing a few times in the 100-footer powering downwind. They've buried the bow, got the odd ton of water under the spinnaker, bang, gone.
Broke the spinnaker or the bowsprit?
Ripped the tack off.
Yeah, ripped the tack off the chute, exactly. Water going past at 20 knots. Spinnaker's not designed for that, is it?
No, need to redesign, and one Stephen Quigley is the man to do that for him.
Oh, there you go. We did have once an incident, Larry, on the good ship Brenda Bella, where the owner-operator driving down a pretty largish wave in Bass Strait and got green all the way to the stern and about 20 feet up the headstay. Set some kind of record, I thought.
Yep. Probably set the record for sending a tractor down a wave.
Exactly.
So Alcatel's gone round the mark. He's just looking for pressure into Rose Bay to come find something to jibe back on right now. And the chasing team, or
well, they're still just in order. Bob, Alcatel, Ilvey higher, and Triple M distantly fourth. Ilvey's hanging in there, but had to be something a bit major happen now for Alcatel to lose this race, I'd suggest. Well, it should be straightforward from here for Alcatel. They're not far off. They've got 2 more jibes. They're in pressure. Shouldn't be too hard. And Ilvey probably will be content here to follow them and just make sure they get second. Oh no, here we go. Ilvey having a crack at least.
See the Asko go through the line.
Yeah, so for the troops watching, the Asko, which is in the far distance, didn't round the correct windward mark, and the committee may not know that and may finish them. But we are sticking with the 2 boats here, Alcatel and Ilvey, who, as far as we're aware, have sailed the correct course.
how's this dude going on the paddleboard here? He's looking famous, isn't he? You got him, Bugger? You like that? fully under control.
I think he should go back to sheltered waters and
Return to base, brother.
and improve the technique, but that's just my view.
Where are you going? Oh, yeah, fantastic.
I like the legs akimbo stance.
You get all sorts out here on the harbour, folks. I don't know where he's going, but he's in a hurry.
I think the Wahinis up in Manly were better, Bob.
Oh, on the board, you mean?
Correct.
Yeah, no, for sure. We're going back up there next Saturday, by the way. That's worthwhile. Thanks to Bucko for reminding me. Manly 16-foot Skiff Club has invited us to bring the camera cat over and shoot the last heat of their club championship. We had a great time up there 2 weeks ago. And so you'll get some more of that action. And I had a look, Michael Chittenden will be with us, shooting away with his stills camera. But we had a quick look at the weather forecast, and it's Friday. It's blowing 30 odd knots from the south, a nice feisty southerly, which dies away on the Saturday, thank God, to about a 15 knot south-southeast or thereabouts. So you get to see some pretty interesting shots. Their windward mark is underneath South Head, so we get towards that area in the middle of the heads, and there's usually big, after a southerly like that, there's a lot of big swells coming through, so that should be pretty dynamic to watch. So we'll give you a shout out, or you'll see it on our website. Kimberly Wilmot will put the event slide up tomorrow or the next day, and we'll show you the time start. I think it's a 2:30 start. Scratch race. It was the last time we went up there, so 2:30 next Saturday for the 16-footers live stream coverage off the deck of the mighty camera cat. Okay, this has been a very slow and low race, this one, for our poor old viewers.
Yeah, Sydney Harbour not at its best today, is it? But
well, it's warm, but not enough wind.
It's warm, but a bit wind-free. So and these guys are actually struggling, surprisingly. That's the lee of Shark Island there, actually, as I discussed, in fact. So it extends a long way down. It'll be coming with a bit of pressure, but the Alcatel will wriggle their way down to the Port Tack ley line here, and I would suggest one jibe and in. Pressure coming to him now.
Do you do any sailing out of the Cronulla Sailing Club on yachts these days, Larry?
Yeah, I do a little bit down there when I'm in the country. And on the mighty Sydney 38 Predator.
Predator.
Yeah, with Fast Eddie.
Fast Eddie, I know him.
Peter Edwards knows the boat. And yeah, it's nice to be able to just walk down to Cronulla Sailing Club on the sunny shores of Gunnemanna Bay. Go out for a little bit on Port Hackney.
So you're living down there still?
Yep. Born and bred, went to Cronulla High School, mate.
There you go.
Australia, I'm in Cronulla.
You can take the boy out of Cronulla, but it's very hard to take the Cronulla out of the boy, Larry.
They live in God's country. But down south, we know.
We know the Shire is just a pale imitation, don't worry too much.
Yeah. This is a pretty place. So Stephen thinks he can get in here, or we still have to do a little one by the look of it.
No, the Alcatel lining up here for the gun. One more jibe, and not a big one at that.
Momentum on the 18-foot skiffs, not a lot of weight there, can't just send it down low and slow through.
No, it costs you big time when you do that.
Sailed the vessel. Probably a good thing.
Well, Larry, as you'd observe, some think we should take our yacht crews and make them sail one of these just to learn about sailing the vessel. Here we go. That might not be a bad thing either.
So there you go.
Swimming down Cronulla.
There you have it, the mighty Alcatel One Touch. Stephen Quigley on the wheel, Sam Ellis on the sheet, and Tommy Quigley in the bow, the up and coming. So they've had a good year, mate. They started from scratch with that boat, with the 2 Colts, and improved all the way through, and even had some good finishes in the Giltland. So Stephen Quigley, well played with your team, and next year should be even better.
So, Keller, they're going to keep at it next year?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Stephen said to me at the Giltland that, you know, he's going to put a few years into it, but he's as fit as a mountain trout, so he could do a woody, but it depends on what his wife expects, I suppose. But the whole idea is that the young guys get in and make a go of it and get themselves a bit of fun on a Sunday. And next across the line, Ilve today. He led early and got pushed back a bit, but thanks to Asko's unfortunate stuff up, has ended up second on the podium. So Ollie Hardis and his guys, good job. And we might go over to the committee boat and just ask the big question, eh?
Yep. So about 3 minutes in essence between those 2 boats if you take out the time correction. That's not a bad result for the Ilve.
And Pedro Volzoni, Blake, if you get the camera on him, give him a bit of airtime as he crosses. I don't know how many podiums he's had this year, but there wouldn't be many.
Yep.
It could be it.
So the higher appliances get 3rd. And
Jeffrey, we have a question for you. We have a question. Did you finish Asko as winning the race?
We had in lieu of any extra information.
Ah, well, that might be the information you're looking for. On our video, race coverage, he didn't go around the right mark the last time. He's supposed to go around a white mark, the furthest mark, and he went round the blue. He cut a corner. And Stephen Quigley, is on the same handicap, went round the correct white mark. The blue one, not the white one. So that's a rumour. It's not a rumour, it's actual, and it's on the video.
Okay.
Good on you.
Thank you.
watch the tape. The poor bookie we having kittens, Killer.
You wonder what he
Some
pays
of the
out.
punters as well.
Well, that'll be hard. If he's paid out on Asko, he's going to have to go and get the money back.
Exactly.
So, there you go. The mighty Kemler
So
Cat.
pretty good fight here
Undercover.
for fourth, actually, is it not? Yes, indeed, fourth. In our mind, at least. But the Triple M, probably going to get it.
The big Dr. Dan. It's a good-looking decal, that, isn't it? The big winged guitar player. Triple M's one of our sport and rock radio stations here in Sydney. If you're overseas and not aware of it, you can look it up on the internet. They have an internet website and they follow a lot of rugby league, particularly in the winter time. They've got a mob called the Grill Team. They're really funny bastards. There's
Matty Johns.
Matty Johns, very funny fella. He does a good send up of the Prime Minister, Malcolm
Turnbull these days.
And he takes him off to a tee. There goes the Triple M, and they have a real good rap with him, and they ask him in the end, "What are you rocking today, Malcolm?" He said, "Today I'm rocking Campbelltown. I don't know where that is." So he's a cracker. And he's got big Mr. Geyer with him, Matt Geyer, and a few other Pelicans.
But so pretty close here,
Yeah.
for fifth, and the Coopers is going to get there.
Coopers with
How's
a
that
burst
for
of
comeback?
speed. Well, that'll upset the Peroni boys. So I had Peroni as a red hot favourite, and just goes to show, even though they got taxed on handicap, they were never going to win that one, I doubt very much.
That's right.
Young Mr. Centre. Is that how you pronounce it, Michael?
Stenter.
Stenter. On the camp. Stenter. Standing in for Keegan York today. They were never a real threat, but they've obviously enjoyed that outing.
Yep.
Big Peter Mackey on the sheet. So that'll do us. We've got Mojo in the distance and DeLonghi. John Winnings, Yandu, further back than fullback today. Can't even see the Smegglers. Yes, there they are. They're up.
Kitchen maker in there somewhere. etc.
Okay, well, that's a wrap for us. We'll see you next Saturday up in Manly, up with the 16-foot skiffs. That should be fun. So, thanks, Bucko. Thanks, Larry Jamieson, for coming out and having a go with us. That was
for the invite.
a few stories. Good on you, brother.
Pleasure being here.
And Graham Turner, GT, just got out of doing some housekeeping. Good on you, Graham.
Thanks, Bob.
Drop you back at
Sport
your
was the
boat,
winner
mate.
on the day, Kilo.
He might have a bottle of rum on the yacht, mate.
Over and out.
So, yeah, thanks, Bucko. We'll see you next Saturday, brother. Thanks, Blake Kirby and Michael Chittenden for doing all the snapping which he throws around on the internet. Bye for now. See you next Saturday. And we'll see you back here next Sunday as well for the last race of this 2015-16 season. And we've all had a pretty good time. The weather's still warm down here. The grass needs hosing down. All the grass is dried, believe it or not, so the lawn mowing, no lawn mowing being done at the moment. Bye for now. See you next Saturday. Over and out.